In your sight, Fitzpleasure, boom, Spieler.
Herzlich willkommen zurück zu der Stanley Parable, einem Spiel, wo es vor allem um Entscheidungen seitens des Spielers geht. Letzte Folge haben wir ja schon viel erlebt, aber wir haben eigentlich null Story gemacht. Wir sind eigentlich nur rumgelaufen, haben den Erzähler genervt und das will ich jetzt ändern.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ganz sicher. Zum wievielten Mal jetzt?
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Das Bild. Viel besser als das, was ich letztes Mal gekriegt habe. Danke. Danke für das Achievement. Du kannst nicht.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Ich möchte mal gucken, ob sich was ändert.
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No, coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
To his boss's office. Geht das jetzt auch? Nö. Business time.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Nee, ich weiß es auch nicht. Ich kann es nicht eingeben. Ich weiß es nicht.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 28. Stanley simply began entering random codes into the keypad, knowing full well the sheer statistical unlikelihood that this would ever result in a 2845.
Ich weiß es nicht. Tut mir leid. Das soll mir einfach nur die Kombination mal so sagen.
Forgot, but it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself, and Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
Kann ich trotzdem noch was eingeben? Na ja. Kann ich jetzt wieder zurückgehen? Ich weiß ja nicht. Nein, leider nicht. Play not gekonnt. Da hätte ich eigentlich noch durch können sollen. Aber nee. Das Spiel denkt sich, Ne, ich mach mal nicht mit.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Ah,
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
sieht aus, als hätte das mit einem 5-Jähriger mit seinem 1 Euro Billigmarker da drauf gekackt.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed
Oh.
with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Die Tür schließt sich nicht hinter mir. Ich kann gleich nochmal zurück, ne?
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Hat die ein Glück, die beiden, die da gefeuert wurden. Die mussten sich nicht von so einem Typen hier durchleiten lassen. Jetzt gucken wir uns das hier aber mal an. Wie komme ich da oben hin? Ist hier sonst noch was? Alles klar. Okay. Gehen wir mal zurück. Was ist das denn Grünes da drin? So, fertig. Von nach Hause.
No, he refused
Hey,
to
gib die
believe
Disco-Mucke
it. He
zurück.
couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Ganz genau. Aber wir lassen uns, glaube ich, ein bisschen Zeit dafür, oder? Vielleicht nervt ihn das ja. Hm? Hä?
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty.
Ich habe den Knopf nicht gedrückt.
Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine! Unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed
What
from
could
the
it mean?
machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Nö.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Da ist es durch. Perfekt, super. Das war sehr kurz. Aber da war ja auch noch so ein Anknopf, ne?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Halt. Halt. Das war nicht so. Diese Passage kenne ich nicht. Hä? Warte mal. Hä? Was ist das denn? Hä? Hier war noch nichts. Kein blauer Raum.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Hä? Kann ich das verändern?
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Ja. Dann müssen wir
Coming
uns
to
noch
a
angucken.
staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Dann müssen wir uns noch angucken, wie sich der Anfangsraum verändert. Ah. Because the boss knows that what the boss says goes. If the boss suffers losses, then that's what the boss shows. What? Krass, da versuche ich das einmal und dann geht's, ne? Ah, dreckig. Oh, singt der mit, der Typ? Oh nein. Oh nein. Gibt sicherlich auf YouTube einen, der sich das eine Stunde anguckt. Na, guck mal, das Bild davon.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of
Ganz
any
ruhig, ich
human.
weiß den Code.
Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
Das ist so ein Penner, ne? Nicht böse gemeint, aber das ist echt mies.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Ja, das brauchte ich jetzt. Vielleicht geht's ja so. Jetzt höre ich mal durch. Oh weh, du sagst jetzt den gleichen Scheiß nochmal. Ich erspare euch das. Weil das wird sicherlich nicht.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Oh, ich glaube, ja.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Ich dachte, ich könnte ein bisschen skippen, aber nö. Nö, das geht wieder nicht.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true.
Der war ich ja.
Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
1000 da unten. Ist nicht 394.
No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery... Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley... I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go. Turn the controls off and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes. Now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock, why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees.
Doch, du verteilst das
Oh
sehr
dear me, what's the
generös.
matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room.
Hab ich's gar
Numbered
nicht.
buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fit in until the moment I say, happily ever up.
Die Chance wird genutzt und es wird geguckt. Gibt es eine Möglichkeit zu entkommen? Guck mal, nein, das Ende kann man nicht verändern.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Es regnet. Cool. Ja, dann wollen wir mal den Escape gucken.
When Stanley came to a set of two open
Blah,
doors,
blah.
he entered the door on his left.
Bla bla bla.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Zum 3000. Mal mache ich das ja.
Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Quelle surprise.
Ich habe zwar nur zweimal gemacht, aber gut. Boah, er sagt hier nichts. Er hat da nichts gesagt, ja klar. Er sagt ja auch, wir wissen es alle schon.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Ich glaube nicht. Nö, ich vertraue dir nicht.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Wäre ja die erste Tür, die nicht von alleine zugeht.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Es kommt, wie es kommt. Du kannst mir gar nichts sagen. Oh, ein Ladescreen gefallen. Ja,
As the
Erzähler,
machine
mach das
whirred
doch
into
nicht an.
motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant,
Wer bist du?
Stanley was obliterated as the machine
Wer bist
crushed
du? Hallo?
every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Kann ich den alten wieder haben? Ich weiß, was ich spiele. Müsste das nicht so ein
And
Schrift
yet
da
it would be
drauf?
just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
Eigentlich schon, ja.
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Toller Computer. Also das ist immer gleich, also größtenteils. Boah, geil, Aktenschränke. Die muss ich mir ganz genau angucken. Hört sich an, als ob eine Bombe gleich hochgeht. Oh, mein Desk. Toll, danke. Hier war ich nicht. Maintenance Room. Kommen wir wohl auch noch hin. Copy. Warzone. Ja, weil es sich durchlesen will. Kann das nicht machen. Bilder. Narrator-E-Mails. Die Lounge. War ich auch noch nicht. Kommen wir da überall noch hin? Hä? Wo ist das? Und es geht direkt weiter. Wie mein Kanalname zusammenfliegt. Nicht lange schnacken. Kopf in den Nacken. Maintenance Layout. Okay, simpelste Version hat gewonnen, also wahrscheinlich die erste. Das ist voll interessant, mal so hinter die Kulissen zu gucken. Escape Menu. Okay. Was haben wir hier? Sending. Levers. Nicht mehr drin. Aha. Schickes Museum. Countdown-Raum. Sieht realistischer aus, wenn ich so sagen darf. Sieht echt besser aus. Winterroom Elevator. Sehe ich jetzt keinen Unterschied. Ah! Man konnte hoch oder runter. Das finde ich ja geil mit dem Pop-Up-Button. Wo gehe ich hier gerade überhaupt hin? Alter, ist das verwirrend. Ah, da kann ich dann nachher hin, okay. Ich will das hier aber mal vollkommen durchgehen. Ah, guck mal hier. So sah das ursprünglich aus. Ja, das war das, von wo es überhaupt ausgeht. Ein bisschen verändert, aber trotzdem ist das in seiner Form so drin geblieben. Oh, mein geliebter Raum. Stanley's Office. Das war das erste. Relativ langweilig. Das zweite mit 2 Monitoren. Das Bild sieht man sogar im Maintenance Room. Oder in diesem Control Center. Und hier ist das, wie es im Endeffekt aussieht. Nicht viel Änderung, also es ist immer noch das gleiche drin. Ja, Warzone, ey. Wer denkt sich denn sowas aus? Das ist ein sehr freundliches Spiel in einem Bürogebäude. Na, guck mal hier. Danke. Danke, dass ich weiß, was die Uhr ist. Boss's Office. Ah, in Development. Anfang, Mitte, Ende. Was haben wir denn hier? Schönes Sofa. Sehr, sehr komfortabel. Underground. Finde ich auch sehr ansprechend, weil ich finde, dieses Ungeordnete passt da unten halt nicht so rein, ne? So, da ist alles ganz sauber noch und dann ist da plötzlich so eine Planke, wo drauf steht Escape, aber es war ja auch so dementsprechend kein Escape, also dementsprechend unseriös soll es ja auch aussehen. Ja, aber finde ich eigentlich ganz cool.
See how it's impossible for the player to do anything in this room. Perfect example of core level design. It's the kind of thing you pick up on intuitively if you have even the most fundamental understanding of good and bad game design. But of course, you being you, you'll probably spend the next
Nee, die gibt es sicherlich auch auf YouTube. Es gibt alles auf YouTube. Oh. Oh. Ah, da war ich ja. Ja gut, dann sind wir hier fertig.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
Und aus.
Can you see? Can you see how much they
Ich
need
sehe
one
nichts.
another?
Ist dunkel.
No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice.
Wisst ihr was? Das mache ich jetzt.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Und noch
No
eine
matter
letzte
how
Sache.
hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Hier unten
At
gab's
first,
noch Namen.
Stanley assumed he'd broken the map until he heard this narration and
Ich skippe
realized
das.
it was part of the game's
skippe ich.
design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
Es regnet noch, ne?
Ah, then in that case we'll continue. But now, here comes the real question. What do you think would have happened if you had told me that you wanted this to stop? Do you think it would have been particularly different?
Ich sag jetzt schon mal, ich bin an dieser Stelle raus. Es hat mir sehr viel Spaß gemacht, diese Folge wieder aufzunehmen. Wir haben viel Neues entdeckt, aber wir sind nicht mal halb durch, glaube ich. Und ich hoffe, ihr seid beim nächsten Mal dabei. Ich spiele das jetzt noch ab. Ihr könnt euch das jetzt anhören oder nicht. Wahrscheinlich kommt hier oben jetzt gleich ein i und sagt euch, ja, hier nächste Folge, andere Folge, bla bla bla, guckt euch an. Ich bin hier raus. Aus die Maus, Mickey Maus, Klö.
Would I have taken the same idea but rephrased it superficially to fit that answer? Perhaps you never would even have thought of it if I hadn't brought up the issue in the first place. Oh, now think about it. Will it be worth it for you to restart and then come back here just to do the other option? Clearly, this whole gag takes some time. What if the other option is even longer? How long will you spend in total just to have heard all the narration? Oh, and this is rich. Perhaps you've just played the other option, and now you've come to see what happens in this one. So, what do you think? Which choice was the better one? Imagine if you had selected continue on your first playthrough, how tantalizing it would be not knowing what happens when you pick the other option. Indeed, you are one of the lucky ones. Though if the other option is really miserable to listen to, then perhaps you're not. In fact, I'm just going to say that no one who's listening to this is lucky. Well now, I've built up the other option so much that I'm going to stop talking and leave you to your decision whether to come back here, continue with the game, or just sit in this spot forever and ever. Cheers.